did you go from, the lows to building a business to, like we said in the intro, multi-million dollars in revenue?
It took fucking years of discipline, sacrifice, doing the things people don't want to do. I had been arrested, graduated high school. I was arrested 4 weeks later with a first-degree felony.
If you could describe your nature of human experience, what would that be like today?
Is a process of work, and mostly for most people, it's a process of removal, right? The operating system that I downloaded forever ago does not fucking work, and I'm willing to be open-minded to receive a new patterns of thinking. It's so important to become the individual that you're trying to become, so that when an opportunity does come, you're fucking ready.
Today's guest overcame a massive drug addiction, was involved in the black market full-time, and racked up multiple felony charges. He adapted, overcame every addiction, rebuilt his life from almost nothing, and now owns and operates a business doing over $3 million a year in revenue. In this episode, he breaks down how he killed his addictions, the exact wealth blueprint that pays him, and the step-by-step system behind that magnetic presence. Chad Case. Thanks, bro, for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Funny little backstory before we get into this is it's always an interesting thing when you're operating in alignment and magnetic things happen. So I met Torsten just a handful of weeks ago, just right out here out on the street. Just a unique little situation, popped by, asked me a couple questions. We got in a connection, and then here we are, just a couple short weeks later. And
it's weird how the world works.
Yeah, or is it not? I think things like that are. I certainly don't believe in coincidences anymore. I think when you operate in alignment, things come to you, and here we are.
Agreed. Well said.
Yeah.
All right. To get right into it, if you could describe your nature of human experience, what would that be like today?
So, I think it would kind of start back from maybe like a lost little boy, right?
Yeah.
So growing up, I think I put so much unrealistic expectations on myself by trying to model myself after people that maybe were further ahead of me, had more resources, things of this nature, right? So I think a lot of people succumb to this, right? And it can be a dangerous slippery slope. But today, now, as a man, I'm here to triumph and continue to adapt and overcome and achieve. It certainly is a process of work, and mostly for most people, it's a process of removal, right?
Agreed.
Most people need to remove things. They don't need to add more things, right? Typically, it's a process of removal in the wellness space, if you will, to become the divine masculine presence. You most often need to remove things. So, yeah.
That's good. I like that. Let's actually go into your childhood for let's just bring me back to your environment growing up. What were you set up for success in any way or anything like that?
For sure. Yeah. Let's bring it all the way back. So, I'm 36 now. I was originally born in upstate New York, Rochester. A small, good town. In the late '80s, early '90s was a huge industry with Xerox and Kodak, so it was a big, kind of thriving city at that time. My dad worked for Xerox, and they ended up kind of moving a plant down here to the Tampa Bay area. Oh, wow. So we moved down when I was about 10 years old, right? So we made the trip down from New York down to Florida. Was kind of maybe it was a traumatic thing. I don't know. When you're young, you're 10, you had your friends, you kind of up and move, and then you got to come down here and kind of restart fresh, right? So, very interesting experience. And my brother and I played sports when we were growing up. So, coming down into Florida, where sports are a little bit more higher level, right? You can play year round, things of that nature. I kind of always felt like I was slightly behind all these people, right? How the fuck are some of these kids this good, or things of that nature, right? Yeah. So I always had this slight undertone. I didn't realize this until I developed as a human, just a lack of self-worth. I just always felt kind of behind, or that somebody else they'll make the team or this kind of stuff, right? So I always kind of had this like slight undertone of inadequacy, and I know plenty of people can relate to that, right? Because you're trying to figure out how some of these other people are just further along mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, whether it's that young or not. So I find that when I first was growing up, that there was that form of kind of self-doubt. I kind of always felt like I was here and other people were here,
Yeah.
right? Even though I was involved in these social circles where, we were in the popular crowds in the high school, and we would do the parties and all that shit. It always kind of felt like I was slightly below some of the members in the group. So I kind of struggle with that. So my parents split up at probably mid-teens, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's always hard on a guy.
Yeah. So my dad, was still supporting the family, moved back up to New York, was trying to live down with my mom, and my older brother, right? And so this is, I don't know, probably between the ages of 13 and 18, something like that, right? Right in the kind of the formative years where having maybe more of a divine masculine presence involved in proximity can kind of help and grow and develop people, right? So I was also raised, by my mother, who was kind of struggling with the separation herself. She kind of was a little bit heavier on the alcohol at that time. So I think there was a combination of factors of why I was led down the path that I was led, right? So you are exposed to things at, particular ages, and just the development brain is like, soaks all that up. So monkey see, monkey do, right? Had some family members, particularly on my mother's side, that were like just fucking eons ahead of where I was at, right? These were people that were like high level, Wall Street type people. Here I am, like, I'm going through school. I'm doing okay, but I'm also rebelling. I'm skipping school all the fucking time.
I feel like a lot of people feel like that these days.
Oh, I mean, it just like especially with the influx in content and things that people consume, they can just constantly always feel behind, right? And so when you're continuing to develop as a human, these things compound internally, right? And so for most men, what we tried to do to have the bravado is to change things externally, right? So we'll always go for cars, watches, shit like that, appearances, when really the true divine masculine presence is built from the inside out, right? So yeah, monkey see, monkey do. I watched my mom, and so that caused quite a bit of pull away from people.
I can tell that's like it's kind of hard to talk about a little bit, or
yeah. So like
it took a little while. Like, how did you overcome that feeling of like all these people are just like doing, these big things? They're going on Wall Street. How did you like overcome that?
So in the short term was deflect, reflect, and just began to find people that vibrate at the particular frequency that I was vibrating at, right? So you find yourself in these social circles where maybe alcohol is rampant, drugs are beginning to become more and more flowing. So it took many years, right? I had been arrested, graduated high school. I was arrested 4 weeks later with a first-degree felony, which is like a PBL, punishable by life here in Florida, which was burglary battery, right?
That's
so
some serious stuff.
Yeah, so it was a bar fight without a bar. We ended up entering into a residence that was occupied with some people. It was a full-on chaos, bar stools. Yeah, it was quite crazy fucking event.
Yeah.
And it was actually running out of the actual spot, and the people from the opposing side, somebody came and actually like hit me in the face, kind of pushed me down, got up and got hit in the face with a golf club, right? Ooh. And so the whole way I actually got arrested for this was I ended up having to go to the hospital, right? And so I it's 2 a.m, whatever. I drive to the local hospital. We get there. I kind of tell some bullshit story like, hey, we were at this party and this happened. And I'll never forget this. The actual kind of detective that was there kind of took the notebook paper he was writing notes, and then he flipped it over. And I still like have this like cinematically in my head.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Let me tell you what the fuck really happened, right?" And he went down and just hit these points of, you entered this, you did that. And so that was one of the first events that sent me down a pretty long spiral. Yeah. I was then kind of released on a bail, and about 6 weeks later moved to Orlando. I was actually involved in another arrest for a similar thing. So if anybody's in that magnetic, the anti-magnetic, right, where so you're getting sucked into all of these series of unfortunate events, and you're just like, I just don't fucking get it. Like, why the fuck does this keep happening to me? Typically, it's something to do with the fact that you're underdeveloped internally, right? And so we go seeking these external solutions, these alcohol, this drugs, these parties, these women, all this shit, right? You go seeking external things when really the thing we need to do is grow internally and develop ourselves internally so that we are strong, right? Strength definitely comes through in the form of restraint. So if we can restrain ourselves from things like drugs, alcohol, things of that nature, it can make things a little bit smoother. Yeah. So quite the wild ride there.
That's a lot of stuff that happened.
Yeah, I was on probation for years, back and forth, and you know, people that have been on that, what a fucking ride that is. It's extremely taxing mentally and physically, spiritually, emotionally, knowing that, you know, you're quote unquote 18 years old, 19 years old, that some other adult is overseeing your life, right? So just extremely challenging to kind of see the landscape ahead, and then going back to these unrealistic expectations I had on myself, right? I was like, oh God, my cousins, or, you know, even my roommates in college, like they're all doing well, and I'm like just fucking up over and over and over again. I just can't figure it out. Family, friends, everybody's just like, I just don't fucking get it, right? So you're just in this such a downward spiral. God, it was like hell on earth. I honestly believe that was how I got the fucking gray hair. It started from then. I truly believe that, like, that played such a role. It was such a big thing to have such demeaning, right? So like when you go through that process and you already have unrealistic expectations and you're continuously failing over and over, arrest, probation, this, that, all this shit, your self-worth and your ability to see yourself as somebody who can be successful is almost fucking vanished. Like you're like, okay, I'm gonna do industry work. I'm gonna be working in these bars and restaurants. And if anybody watching this knows, that's a fucking slippery slope too. Now you're drinking, you're doing even harder drugs, the actual scale and frequency that you're doing that, the people you're surrounding yourself with, it's just quickly leads to what I would consider nowhere road. Unfortunately, I continued on that for about the next 12 or so years. All kinds of things, all kinds of problems, constantly. Just so didn't have looking in the mirror of like a person that like I was proud to be. It was constantly like over and over, just I can't believe I'm fucking doing this again. Drugs, alcohol, just not living up to who I knew I could be. I just didn't have the resources to get there.
Wow, that's a lot, man. That tells you that you could come from just addicted to all these things and just like so low, and then you just break into like business. I'm sure it was not like an easy road for business, but like how did you go from, you know, the lows to now building a business to, like we said in the intro, multi-million dollars in revenue? Yeah,
so one of the biggest things I want to touch on is that it took fucking years of discipline, sacrifice, commitment, doing the things people don't want to do, right? Literally over and over and over again, faking it till you make it, and until you actually fucking believe it. Like I know we talked about this before. I have mantras that I say repeatedly all the time, and one of them is like, I am a bad motherfucker, over and over and over. And it took me years. I remember the first time I went to treatment, right? So I went to treatment multiple times. If anybody's kind of been through that process, quite interesting. I went the first time when I was 25 years old. That time it was mostly alcohol, cocaine, and Xanax. And going through that process, which I think is extremely important to kind of notate that like it takes so long for for you to actually download messages from above and begin to implement them, right? So, maybe if somebody's here now thinking and talking about like, yeah, that's great, man, I'm glad you adapted and overcome, but I'm going through this or that, like it doesn't fucking happen right away. I went to treatment the same day 11 years later, and thankfully that was the last time I went to treatment, but like to just give context of like how long that process took. It took me 11 years just to finally say, I am sick of fucking losing, right? To get to the point to where now I could get out of treatment this last time and just actually fucking listen, right? Like just surrender to the fact that the operating system that I downloaded forever ago does not fucking work. And I'm willing to be open-minded to receive a new patterns of thinking, new people, new environments, things of that nature. When you remain closed-minded, everything is limited, your thoughts, your actions, everything. So I really just began to slowly develop the process of opening up to receive, right? And when you're able to be open to receive new thoughts, new information, you begin to become more and more magnetic, right? Just like we talked about at the beginning of this conversation, there's a reason why you and I have connected and now are kind of displaying this story. But yes, to kind of fast forward, all right, so we went to treatment first time at 25, we had multiple hospital stays, just all kinds of ups and downs and ebbs and flows and all of the shit in between, right? And then you get to a point where, again, like I said, just sick of fucking losing.
Were you selling drugs and doing like the black market stuff at that time?
Yeah, so that started, it was on and off for many years, but it got pretty heavily, and was the catalyst for me jumping from what I would say like amateur to expert in the drug and alcohol game, was from that, right? You just have consistent flow of funds, you're around people that are, again, vibrating at what I would consider low frequencies. At that time, I thought they were fucking cool and amazing, and it's just a part of the process, right? Yeah. You just kind of, it's a process of removal. You're shedding, right? So like my perception of what I thought was cool was that, and people can easily fall for that too, because the underlying principle of that is that was an external part of my life, right? I was so focused on these external benchmarks of this and that, when I had no idea that the nature of the human experience is internal to external. That is how you become worthy to have the things, the place, the cars, all this shit. If the things are what you're looking for, if that is actually what you're looking for and you're working for, you're going to fucking get it, right? If that's what you really want. But are you leaving things on the table? Are you not the individual that you want to be like, right? One of my favorite quotes is, if a man is right, his world will be right, right? So like, are you doing the things when people are not looking? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you ingesting the right information? Are you putting the right foods in your bodies, the sleep, the diet, exercise? Are you are you exchanging thoughts and ideas with other high-level men? Super important to seek counsel of other high-operating men. So, yes, so a little bit of a tangent there. But yes, so begin to get myself well. Ask a great friend of mine for a job. Was kind of doing a marketing agency for financial advisors, things of that nature, right? He was like, yeah, come on. He knew I had, was working on getting my shit together and was willing to give me an opportunity. And for some reason, I don't know why, I guess it was, God, the source, the universe, whatever that may be for you, had this internal voice of me like, put in the effort in this. Like, this is maybe not exactly what you're looking to do, but this is like a vehicle or a vessel. It's an opportunity to get yourself back to that individual who you knew you could become, right? So you set these unrealistic expectations when you're a child, and then all of a sudden you get this opportunity to honestly become from a boy to a man, right? Mm-hmm. And so a great friend gives you this opportunity. you're like, fuck it, I'm going as far all in as possible. I'm gonna show up early, I'm gonna stay late, I'm gonna do extra work, things like that, and just really try to mirror him as much as possible. You know, emulate this individual. And about 4.5 months later, he was tragically killed in a car accident.
Sorry to hear that.
So there's not a whole lot of playbooks for that kind of shit, right? So, you know, you've become numb to some of these events, right? You've just kind of gone on a long journey to try to adapt and overcome drugs and addiction. You're doing everything you can internally to become the man, right? This is a process of becoming. So you're never actually there. I don't feel like you ever actually arrive somewhere, right? It's just constantly evolving and adapting, right? So I'm evolving internally myself, and then this event happens, and I'm just like overcome with, I have no fucking idea how this is gonna work, but like, I'm going to make this fucking work, right? And so that happened on a Sunday, and on Monday I was in the office like, I'm just gonna try to figure this the fuck out, right? And here we are, about 3 years later. Essentially, I've kind of tripled the revenue of the company. Went from about 1 million to about 3 million. We have some awesome things in the works, and I think a lot's going to come. So I think the big message there, as far as the business thing or just life in general, is the series of events that it took to even obtain the opportunity to have this vehicle and vessel, this business, right, that will create the freedoms in my life to go and do the other things that I want to do, came because I went so far internal instead of being focused on the external, that I was able to receive that and was mentally well enough to say, holy fucking shit, this is insane, but I'm going to do whatever it takes, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think it's extremely important for people to know, like, it's not going to come easy. Like, there was no playbook. I was looking to, learn this business, work inside it, and then all of a sudden, boom, over fucking night, you're a business owner. Like, so it can come and work in mysterious ways, but that's why it's extremely important. It's so important to become the individual that you're trying to become, so that when an opportunity does come, you're fucking ready.
Yep. Explain to me like a little bit about like your business and why you got into it and like what it is for the people watching, because.
Sure. Yeah. So the company name is Power Mailers Plus. What we do is essentially lead gen and marketing for in-person events for financial advisors and or estate planning attorneys. They will host some kind of in-person event, and we'll just get some qualified people to attend those events, right? And then from there, they'll sell whatever financial products and services. Again, this was not something that I had, this wasn't in the cards, right? I didn't have this. I had no formal education. We kind of touched on the stories, right? So, when you go from high school arrest and trying to do the college thing, and all of a sudden you're fucking get probation and you're stuck in these jobs that are, service industry related, or, some sales level jobs, that kind of stuff. A big thing for me that I downloaded, later on in life, that like all of those jobs, although they seemed like fucking pointless in the past, the combination of all those skill sets, if you allow the combination of skill sets over the course of your lifetime to make sense to why you're on the timeline today, like if you just surrender to the fact that you're on a fucking timeline, and that it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but eventually, if you continue to develop yourself, if you continue to become that motherfucker, that there will be an opportunity for you to triumph, overcome, that kind of stuff. But it's the days where you don't want to do it is what allowed me to honestly continue to operate this business today.
Dude, that's awesome. Like just going from where you came from to now making and like living a free life. Like, did you ever see yourself like becoming and like being here? Not like physically here, but like in the future, did you see yourself being?
Yeah. So again, from the beginning of this story, I think there was always something in the back of my mind, right? So when you're struggling with drugs, you're just and you're surrounding yourself with people that, maybe you're not, you're just like, damn, how the fuck did I get here? Like, what happened? Holy shit. Like, there was some kind of burning desire. I just didn't know how to answer the calling, right? And so that's extremely important for people to know. Like, it's fucking in you, right? Again, this process is all about the internal aspect, right? The external shit will come. If you develop and become the man internal that you need to become, all of the external stuff will come, right? So it's extremely important to continue to develop yourself internally, like we talk about. Now, for me, where I'm at today, it kind of makes sense now, right? It makes sense because of the work. But when this first happened, when Chase passed, and you're kind of looking at the landscape of like, holy fucking shit, like, this is nuts, like, up to your eyeballs in work, like, when is it ever going to end like this, right? Like, at that point, I just took on a job. It was like it was more of a headache than anything, honestly. But now you get to a point where, like, these first 3 years, I would describe the business as brute force. These next 2 to 5 years, I would consider some skill and finesse going to happen, where you're going to go from here to here, right? And it's going to continue to grow and develop, and that's the coolest thing is now I like embody the fact that, like, because I'm doing the things and I'm taking care of myself, I'm surrounding myself with good people, things of that nature. Yes, I do feel like today, the version I am today is worthy of what's on the horizon. Yes.
Yeah, that's hard for a lot of people to admit. Like, even till this day, I don't know. I feel like I don't like the word deserve, but I never really felt like I really like deserved what I've gotten. But I'm definitely worthy of it because I put in the work and everything like that.
Sure, and I think especially given the age, I think that comes more with life experience. You've been playing the game for only a certain amount of minutes, right? Whereas, like, you zoom out, I got 15 years age on you and life experience of more ups, more downs, and just more data, right? Like, I can zoom out and see more of the experience. So because of the fact that you are currently playing the game, what I would say more optimal than I was at your age, yes, it might seem like you are advancing faster than other people and you're like kind of confused, right? Something like that. So, which is another thing too, because there's plenty of kids that make a lot more money than I do right now, right? But I'm so open to seeing that and love the fact that people are winning. When you're losing for so fucking long, right? Like, when you're just behind to be able to now just be like, kind of wake up and smile and like see people and like genuinely like interact with individuals. Like, what are your fucking wins today? Like, that was non-existent in my like thought patterns, right? So like that, just having the ability to see people who are advancing, like, you wake up, my first goal of the day is to wake up, make my bed, and like just sit down with some journal reflections and understand, like, how am I going to advance today? Like, what is Chad going to do to the future Chad will be even more excited about, right? Like, how are you spending intentional time, like, advancing? And it's so important to get up each day and say, the 1% better, you'll hear it. That shit's true, dude. Get up and go to fucking work. It's like war, right? Like, and you have to have a strategy. Like, people don't go to war without a fucking strategy. So what is that for you, right? I don't know what that is, but you need to begin to develop that in order to become the man you need to become, right?
I've recently started every single day off waking up and just being like, today I'm just not going to give a fuck. Like, everything. Just not going to give a fuck. And it's improved my life immensely.
I love that. What's a little context on that? Because I think people might get a little lost on that. Hey, let's draw that out a little bit.
I was just like always scared of like talking to people, even though I don't know why. Like, I had a job. I used to do forklift for a living, so I would always like help people, and I would be talking to people all the time. But I don't know. I just developed like a thing of like not like, I was scared of talking to people because I cared about like their feelings or anything like that external work. Because I didn't really like develop that internal of like, who gets really like, the only thing that really matters is yours. And so I just like wake up every day now and I'm like, I'm the fucking man, like you said, like, I'm a badass, like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. No, and
Like big dick Chad energy.
big dick chat energy. I love that. I think it's extremely important to, yeah, always be mindful that whatever the dialogue is inside is a muscle. And so if your dialogue doesn't have the self-worth, doesn't have the self-love, is concerned about external things, that shit's just going to compound over years, right? And then typically how that comes out, that shows up in the form of typically some form of like boredom, right? So people are just, they're not occupying them times with some kind of valuable input, right? So then it goes to boredom, which then leads to thoughts that stray, which then usually typically leads to vices, right? And that's whatever that may be for you. For me, it was drugs, alcohol. For people, it's food, sex, gambling, all that kind of stuff. So if you're not constantly, I like to say, gassing yourself up or like repeating some form of mantras daily of like, I'm this, I'm worthy, I'm that like constantly over and over and over. And the real thing is like, especially for in like men's wellness, like, okay, when you get to a point where like, okay, I have some self-worth and self-confidence, like, then that's fucking day one. Then you just started. The real work starts because you need to compound this over months, over years, over decades, right? To become. You're constantly becoming. This isn't like you just get to somewhere, right? It's constant, over and over. That's why diet, fitness, health, exercise, habits, like that's the formula to be able to get it. There's no fucking shortcut. It's very simple. It is not easy. It's for me, it's some kind of intentional reflection, which I think in 2025 there's a lack of brotherhood, right? So people don't communicate with brothers enough, right?
Primal days, yeah.
And so everybody's trying to do this shit alone, which is why you get to the drugs and alcohol like I did. Had a sense of abandonment. Fuck it, lone wolf. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put it all on my shoulders. I'm gonna figure it out. And yeah, you heard the story: multiple arrests, treatment centers, hospitals, just all that shit. And that might not play out in your life, but like there is a sense of that, right? So if we don't have the self-worth, we're gonna stray. We're gonna continue to go down and do harmful behavior one way or another, right? So yeah, surrounding yourself with the right people, diet, fitness, sleep, hydration, no fucking vices. Get rid of them. I don't know what that is for you. For me, I had to essentially omit all of them. I don't particularly watch TV. Porn is not an issue for me. Any of these little things is like sucks away at your ability to continue to grow and advance. I think we said it earlier. Strength comes through in the form of restraint, right? So it's easier said than done. It takes fucking years. And another thing to remember too is I had to go to treatment multiple times, and what's there is a team of people, a team of doctors, clinicians, techs, all this kind of stuff, right? To be able to give you the ability to get to like zero. So if you're trying to do this by yourself, whatever kind of vices that you're going through, it's fucking next to impossible. Like, you need to have a team, you need to have a strategy, you need to have a fucking plan, because shooting from the hip in 2025, it's not going to go well.
Never really does well, except for the Cowboys.
Can't really be lost out here today.
Let's actually go really deep into that. Like, for a guy that's watching this right now and he's like, okay, you said all these things. Like, what's a framework like I could do right now that'll instantly change my life, or at least get me in the direction
Sure.
to be where you are today?
God, the first thing, movement is just like it's so often underlooked and thought about. But like, we've recently started the men's group here in Tampa, and the tagline for me, and like this is just like if I could describe how I was able to grow and develop, is that external movement creates internal stillness. Yeah. Like, and if you can continuously have that like as a tab in the background of your brain, like, okay, I'm going through something. If I can just move my body, whatever that is for you, if that's a walk, if that's a run, if that's lifting, I don't know, whatever that is for you. But if you think about, for millennia, like yoga has been around. Why? For movement, to move negative internal energy out of your body, right?
Walking and running also.
If you don't move, the negative internal energy is now stored in you, and you know where it goes? Right in between your fucking ears. And then those are the thoughts that begin to plague you. And they compound over and over in years and weeks and all of this. So movement is the first thing, right? Like, and movement is free, okay? Back to the thing we talked about in the beginning. This is a process of removal, right? You don't need to be adding more shit, more, oh, I'm going to buy this off Amazon or this, that. No. Just go fucking move your body. Have some form of reflection process. For me, that's journaling. That's also me organizing a men's club so that we can reflect amongst other high-level men. And then if you're not feeling good about yourself, it's time to go fucking serve somebody else, right? So we really start living when we give, right? And so if you are not feeling good about yourself, you have a problem, there's somebody that's way fucking worse than you, go find a way. Go spend a couple extra minutes with somebody that's in your life. Ask them how they're doing. Maybe even just the barista or whatever, that kind of stuff. Like, it's just these little micro moments that begin to develop the internal state of the positivity, right? So if you're operating currently in a negative internal state, it is essentially impossible to make positive change, right? You need to be vibrating at a frequency that is high enough to where you can attract new thoughts, new people, right? So for me, it would be some form of movement, some form of intentional reflection, and then some form of service. And if you can start that and you continue, remember, this is fucking work. This is daily. If you are feeling down, you need to move your body. You need to find out a way to serve somebody. And I don't remember what else I was just saying, but yes. Sorry. But it's so important. Like, move your body. In, garbage out. What kind of information is going in your brain? Mm-hmm. What kind of diet, food, exercise, things of that. Like, this is your body. This is your vessel. Like, you only get fucking one. Yep. YOLO. And I didn't understand that for so long, right? I just took everything for granted. Drugs, alcohol, consumed all kinds of shit, just negative things. It's so important. So if you're in this,
that's how you got the gray hair, right?
Dude, honestly, for now it's like silver though. So I'll keep it now because it's unique and maybe a form of wisdom. But it maybe didn't have to be. I don't think it had to go this far down this bumpy road. But here we are. Yes, but please just move the body, some form of reflection, and then some form of service. That's my yeah.
That was killer, man. I was actually working out with you like the other day, and you have this like crazy aura that I've never experienced to anyone ever in my life. Like, how did you create that? It was like everyone is so magnetic to you. Everyone was always looking at you. It was almost like you were a Hollywood star, but you're not. And everyone wants to just be around you. Everyone wants to, interact with you. How did you develop that?
I definitely think that took many years. I think even when I was like kind of using that kind of stuff, I was always very mindful of like how I wanted to conduct myself, or maybe understanding that life is a mirror, right? So like, talk about input matches output. Like, how are you able to narrowly kind of shorten the view or the lens of like who you're trying to become? Like, I think especially when you're younger, many people try to find too many things that they want to do, right? Whereas I think, again, back to the process of removal, I think it's better to find things maybe that you don't want to do, right? So I don't want to do drugs and alcohol. I don't want to hang out with these people. It just be able to kind of narrow the scope of like who I'm trying to become. And that is when I began to find things like yoga, meditation, men's embodiment work, trying to figure out how to emotionally regulate myself so that like I emit a frequency, right? So I'm extremely aware of like the Hertz frequency charts, right? And so what are you doing daily to stay as high as possible in the frequency chart? Like, this is your experience. What are you doing? You need to be in charge and control. You are in control, unless you're not, which I know about that too, right? But so like if you're actively working on remaining in control of the nature of your human experience, input matches output. What are you doing to emit frequencies that people draw, right? And that was a learned behavior. Like that was a learned skill that took years of consuming the right content, understanding, having a vision of the types of individuals I'm trying to emulate, thinking about other people's perception of you, not in the fact that like I'm concerned about, but like how can I serve this person so that when I'm in proximity to them, you do emit that frequency. So it takes years of discipline, sacrifice, commitment, but also being actively engaged in the human agency of like, I want to figure out how that individual operates like that, so I'm going to go seek that out, right? Yeah. So the inability to self-assess, like I see that person, they operate amazingly. That's not me. I can't do that. That's like totally bullshit, right? Emotional regulation and internal work is all work. Like you need to be seeking out, like if you have a vision of somebody you're trying to emulate, how does that person do that, right? This is work, dude. If you need to figure out how you want to become the person you need to become, right? And so that takes work. It's a learned skill. So yeah, it's seek it out. Like if you see somebody and you know maybe it's a public figure or whatever, figure it out. Listen to their shit. What are they doing? How can I do that? What how can I
absorb their energy as much as
possible?
But
like just begin to again figure out what you don't want, because when you can figure out what you don't want, it narrows down the scope of who you do want to be, right? If you're so concerned about all the shit you do want to do, it's too much. The filter is just it's too much going on. Like, okay, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want that, right? It begins to shorten this up. So now I can say, this is what's valuable in my life. These are the skills and traits that I'm actually going to go after, right? And for me, it's a lot of diet, a lot of fitness, exercise, movement, emotional regulation, which is so overlooked here, especially in 2025. People are so reactive. Like a cool, calm, poised man is like people, that's who you want to be around, right? Like, especially in business too. Like in business, I want to see somebody under fucking fire. Like, let me see you when the shit's collapsing. Yeah. I want to see how you act, right?
That's how the true...
It's just I know that person's either developed or underdeveloped, right? Did you spend time developing yourself internally, or are you going to emit this frequency of like, oh shit, collapse, that kind of stuff? Like, or are you going to take a breath and fucking lean in and take it right there on the chin and say, okay, I'm going to figure out how to get out of this situation, and how are you going to learn, grow, and expand from everything, right? So from drug addiction, man, going through that, all the arrests, all of the treatment centers, all the hospitals, it didn't fucking make sense when I was going through it. It makes a whole lot of fucking sense now, right? Yeah. I have all that in the past to have the data of that's not what I do. I don't want to do that. But you know what I do want to do? I do want to do this. Yeah. And then have the opportunity to kind of sit many years later and have this discussion, and it's just fucking amazing. What a cool human experience.
Agreed. So the person watching this right now is probably thinking, well, who do I go and like study? Like, do you have any particular people besides you? Obviously, you know, I wouldn't they just watch you and everything like that, but is there anyone in particular you'd be like, that's a person that you should look at the traits and take, and also not take at the same time?
I mean, it just depends on, you know, what your goals are and that kind of stuff. You know, I don't like to maybe necessarily force particular things on people, right? I have some other people that I'm trying to work with, you know, that are struggling chemically and that kind of stuff, right? And go through that stuff. So I don't particularly like to force what I would consider delivery methods. Okay. All right. So how I understand the nature of human experience is this: it's heal yourself, then heal others, right? And so when you become well, you can now operate how you want to operate, right? Life is a mirror. So most people nowadays would never know that I went through what I had to go through, right? They see it. I meet people all the time. They're like, what the fuck? Are you serious? So I would imagine that if you're watching this now, you probably do have an idea of somebody. And so I don't particularly like to force feed people because the last two people that I've currently talked with and kind of have given some recommendations on have both said that's not the individual I'm trying to become. And so I try to be very mindful of that, because if we circle back to the beginning of the story, the unrealistic expectations was I was supposed to become this person based on proximity to family and things of that nature, right? And so I had this conceptual thinking of like, this is who I'm supposed to become based on somebody else's projections. So I'm very mindful of watching that. But for people that I like to watch, as far as like business related things, I like Brad Lee, I like Ed Milet. As for some other content, Huberman for health. I like Modern Wisdom, things of that nature. I also am a huge proponent. I don't know if we can plug this, but an app that kind of helped change the trajectory of my life it's called Waking Up, and it's by Sam Harris. And you take it or leave it. He has some views that are controversial, but I just try to silence the noise and try to see through the benefits of that app. But that app is so fucking extensive. Like, I think it's like $100 a year, but it should be literally like probably like thousands of dollars a year. So much content, whether that's meditations or it's like conversations, that kind of stuff. Like, if you're in a season of compression and you just, fuck man, I can't figure it out, I would suggest to surrender and just be open fucking minded. Like, again, back to what I said, like when I finally realized that the operating system that I was using, right, for 0 to 32 just didn't fucking work, I began to be open to new ways of thinking, right? So maybe you're in this position where you wouldn't normally listen to somebody or that kind of stuff, maybe a different kind of podcast or different books, that kind of stuff. Just drop your fucking guard. Like, just let it go. Like, that system isn't working. Just be open to something else. I think it's extremely important to be open-minded, to just be open to receive. If you're closed-minded, that's what happens with devices, right? You just go back to the same old behaviors, patterns and behaviors. We seek comfort, right? So we go for these things that I know the result of that, so I'm going to go right back to that. So just be open-minded, just open the doors. Intake as much data as you can. And then from there, you can begin to figure out what you don't want, right? And then that's what I'm saying is like intake information, and then you don't necessarily have to figure out everything you do want. Let's say, nope, we don't want that. We don't want that. It just helps you narrow it down so much faster. So that's my outtake on that.
I love that. If a man's listening to this right now and just feels like stuck, feels lost, he feels like low value, what's the one thing you'd tell him that would like completely change the direction of where he's at?
Yeah, I think I'd go back to like what are your habits, right? So like the strength of a man is always to his system. So like what are the habits that you have? Do we have some kind of movement practice? Do we have some kind of intentional reflection? Or are we just fucking scrolling all the time? Are we watching fucking porn? Like things like that are just deplete you so quickly, and then just kind of take you out of the nature of like the internal, the spiritual aspect of this experience, right? Like, what is it internally? Like, you have to be able to go inside and figure out what the actual root of this is. For me, it was abandonment. It was, lone wolf, fuck you, I'll do it on my own. Like, and I didn't understand that until I did, years of therapy, years of men's embodiment work, like inner work, figuring out the yoga, the meditation. So, it's likely, again, going back to the beginning things, is it's probably we need to remove something. You're deviating from alignment. You're not operating in alignment. You are doing something that continues to pull you away from center. And so we need to reevaluate. Like, let's do a full audit of like, what am I doing that's developing myself internally so that I don't have these issues with the external versions of myself. Like, fuck, people don't like me like this. It's a process of removal, and it's always internal. Everything is based off habits and like the work done internally. So what can you do? What can you audit? Like, you know how much time you're spending on this. You know how much time you're wasting on that. You know the fucking people you're conversating with. You know the podcasts that you either are or are not listening to. Like, how intentional are you? Like like, just wake up every day and you just have to be intentional. How am I, Chad, going to advance today? How am I, Torsten, going to advance today? Like, be intentional, dude. Like, and it's not immediate either. Like, this is like, for me, there was no specific day, like, oh my God, like, this is, no, it's like gradual. Like, you realize that you're fucking slipping, you're deviating away from alignment. So, self-assess. What are the steps, actions, or habits I need to take? Like, again, back to like, you need a fucking strategy. Like, you cannot do this shooting from the hip. So if you're continuously in these habitual thought patterns, habitual construction, it's because we don't have some kind of framework. We don't have the things. And like I said, for me, it's movement, reflection, service. Not necessarily in that order, but if you can begin to develop something like that, but also seek the counsel of other men. Like, you cannot fucking do this alone. I brought it multiple times. Like, there's a reason why the treatment center has a team of people, and there's a reason why businesses have business partners. You can't fucking do it alone. So seek outside counsel and have some kind of process, like we mentioned, with the movement, reflection, and service.
Killer. I think that's all the questions I got, really. What's the time we're running on? Like, how long we've been recording?
Time code, this is runtime probably 51 minutes.
You want to keep going?
Can we stop and use the bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to use the bathroom too. You can just put it down and just keep letting it run. Okay. All right, we're back. Chad, is there anything else you wanted to add?
I think it would be cool if I say something about the fact of, like, what was one thing that you've learned so far from being in proximity to me, and about the ChatGPT journal prompts? Because I think a huge thing about people with the journaling in general is they think it's a diary, and that's why adult men won't do it. Is because they think it's a fucking diary. But if you are intentional with thought-provoking questions that extract information, right? Like, the whole time I'm journaling, what I'm trying to do is to create the life of my design internally with my thoughts, and then followed up with my actions. So I'm going to wake up each morning. I'm going to go to ChatGPT and say, give me journal prompts based on, I'm trying to call in community and connection today. I'm looking to do service. I'm also trying to adapt and overcome this challenge in my business. Give me ways to think how to navigate this. And then I'm also looking to call in magnetic energy. I'm looking to do this weekend. I want to have good energy, things like that, right? So, like, I think it's extremely important that during your reflection process, if journaling is not something that you've done in the past, this doesn't have to be a fucking diary. These can be intentional questions that you are asked. Just go to ChatGPT and say, okay, today I'm looking to call in this. I'm trying to adapt and overcome this. I want to do this. Whatever that may be in, fill in the blank, and then go through the series of questions and fill it out that way. For me, it's in the physical form. It's on a pen and paper. I think the pen is one of the most powerful tools in the world. Mm-hmm. You can do one of two things. You can write out the journal prompts and then review them later, or for like me and anybody who knows me, I write in short form. It looks like fucking Dr. Chicken Scratch, but my intention is simply the form of release. It's not for me to go back and review. So I think that is an extremely important thing. And then another thing for particularly in men is that they I don't want to do therapy, or I don't want to talk to another man. So what I suggest is incorporated in the movement is to put your headphones on, go into whatever voice memo or whatever, and then go for a walk and just talk to yourself about what you're feeling. Oh, fuck, today this happened, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Or, like, also remember that, like, it's very important to strengthen when there are good days, right? So like when I'm doing journal reflections on good days, I'm like, this happened because of this actions that I took. It's because I'm taking care of myself. It's because I'm doing this. I'm surrounding myself. You don't always want to go to like for me, therapy is not what I would consider like extrinsically motivated, right? I'm not going to therapy because of like some result. I'm going to therapy so that I am ahead of these problems. I'm working on strengthening my emotional regulation. So why would I not continue to work on myself? Like, I think a lot of people do that as a catalyst of an event. Oh my God, this fucking happened, and yes, I'll go to therapy. Like, no, you should be actively advancing yourself internally, and if that helps with some kind of talk therapy, extremely suggest it. If you don't want to do that and you're still uncomfortable with telling people your shit, that means you're not developed enough internally yet, right? So go for the walk, celebrate the wins, and then also talk about the challenges, right? These aren't problems, they're challenges. Like, you will adapt and you will fucking overcome. Like, that's just what it is. Like, this is what humans, that's what we do. So those are a couple things that like we didn't touch on. And then service as well. Like, you can fucking find people to serve. Like, seek it out. Like, again, we don't live until we give. So like
you saved my ass.
Dude, 100%. And I'm extremely intentional when I'm in the field of proximity of people. Like, I will give you, if I have a couple minutes, I'm going to look you in the eyes. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, because it's the nature of this human experience is, guess what, dude? It's fucking way bigger than you and I. It's extremely complex. So all of your little problems and all your little things that you're going through, like, get it, got it, been there, done that. But like, remember, it's not about you. Like, this is way bigger than just you. So in these moments of compression, under duress, things are fucking collapsing, going in. Like, if you can zoom out and silence the fucking noise. Like, if there was one piece of advice that we could give, it's just do your best to silence the noise. Like, if you are not using your time wisely, then we need to do an audit. What is it? Is it TV? Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? I don't know, whatever the fuck that is for you. But like, and it's way easier said than done. So, but how intentional are you trying to be? Like, what is this? Like, are you complaining about being in a particular situation? Then like, we need to do like an extremely serious audit. So yeah, I really wanted to touch on, especially the journaling thing. It's such a overlooked thing. Reflection is extremely important, right? And if we're sucked to these phones and these screens, you're going from one human interaction to a next with like not even downloading what that just was. Like, how can you even integrate that information in your daily life? Because you just went from one dope hit to another dope hit to like over and over and over again. So like, taking intentional time to be in fucking silence is like a necessity. There's no, like, you will, for me, if I wake up and I don't do a particular order or sequence of events, the cadence of my day is altered by essentially succumbing to dysregulations of my emotions. Like, an email will come in or a call will come in, and I'm jumping for that. That's when I know, like, okay, you are emotionally unregulated. What did you not do today? Right? I go back to the checklist of like, okay, yeah, I didn't do enough reflection, or I didn't move my body enough. Like, so like, I still succumb to this shit too. So like, it's going to happen. So this is why you need to continuously develop yourself internally. So the journaling, even you, I mean, I passed you the ChatGPT idea with the journal prompts, and you kind of
helping out a lot more.
It's just more intentional, right? Like, I'm trying to, and you are, same thing too, is create the life you design, again, by your thoughts and actions. So like, why would you not be intentional with trying to find how to narrow down the focus of who you're trying to become, right? So like, these particular questions just help you begin to see how to crystallize these in the physical form, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah, exactly. How did you like become aware of like the programming? You know, like, you weren't aware until a certain point that you were, you know, wasting hours and hours scrolling content, or you weren't aware like your life could.
Sure. I think well, first the ability to even understand what was happening with how the filter as being changed was obviously immediately was from, you know, the reduction of chemicals or other substances in my body. But being open-minded, I'll never forget this guy. His name was Nick. He'll probably never see this, but he was a tech at the treatment center I was at last. And as I was leaving, he was, you know, within a few days of me leaving, because they always know, like, when people are leaving or whatever. That's when he introduced me to that app, Waking Up, right? And you know, I heard meditation and yoga and this Reiki and all this shit. Like, I had heard of it, but like, you just never implemented it. Well, it's not me, it's woohoo, all that kind of stuff, right?
Closed-minded guy.
No, just shut the fuck down. Everything, always, you couldn't tell me nothing, right? And that's why it took 32 years to figure out, like, holy shit, whatever you do doesn't work, right? And so, that was like one of the first times I was actually, and it took me a long time to actually understand that was like one of the first times that I was truly open to receive. Most people, I think, operate up until they have some kind of awakening or awareness, you know, boom, like, it's the law of exposure, right? So like once you've been exposed, you can't see the world in a different way. So, that had to do with some form of meditation practice, and I don't know what, you know, whatever that is for you. For me, it's like pretty much daily. A lot of times it's actually done in the middle of the day. I'll do some kind of like gamma wave, which helps with the brain waves and just kind of really kind of recenter throughout the day. So yeah, that's extremely important too. I think a meditation process. Back to the emotional regulation, like you just want to be a calm, cool, collected, poised motherfucker that you just look at and you're just like, damn, that's a dangerous looking motherfucker. Like he's just like, always, boom, you know.
And women too. We were at I took them out to a dinner at a bar, so it was a dinner place anyway. This woman that was working there, it was very chaotic. There's people everywhere. It's pretty much full. But this one woman that was working there at the she was a bartender. We both noticed that she was like super calm. All the other guys and everything were like running all over. And then she's just like super calm, like picking up napkins, moving slowly.
Yep.
And so we started talking to her and we're like, you're super calm. It's kind of like dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's very attractive too.
Yeah. So, you know, that shows that somebody is emotionally disciplined, and one of the most attractive traits out there is discipline, and whatever form that may be for you, whether that's fitness or things that, like, to see a woman be attractive as like this, but then like the emotional depth is a little bit lower. Like that's true with men. That's true with women. Like the discipline internally, whatever that may be, for like. Yeah, it was actually pretty awesome to see her poise, and I certainly quickly was like, hey, you're just like super calm back here. It's like, it's just a sea of chaos in there. So, I think that comes with constant work, right? Like this is just over and over and over repeatedly, like kind of all the things we've discussed today. Like this is constant. This doesn't stop. Like this is like, to get to zero, it takes 100 miles an hour, and then you got to keep going, right? And to just lean into that, like, this is going to be fucking uncomfortable. Like, lean the fuck in. Like, this is what hard feels like. There's all these top guys say all that shit. I love that Alex Hormozy says that, which is another big plug. Great stuff. Even if the information for you is like too high level of where you're at, right? Or like in business, like. For me, when I first started listening to him years ago, like it was just shit that was like kind of out of bounds for me, and now I'm starting to understand. So that's a huge thing too. Like, start consuming content, whatever that may be for you, in a positive aspect, and fully commit to understanding that. Like, especially with me with the meditation, is that I had no fucking idea what they were talking about for probably like 2 years. Like, just like the shit they say is just so lofty, and it's like. But I just showed up, just continued to show up, because no one's coming to fucking save you, right? So, like, I continued to show up. I listened. Same thing. I got out of treatment. I immediately got a personal trainer. I didn't know how to fucking work out. But I knew that, like, if I didn't take these steps, dude, it's adapt or die out here. I mean, seriously. So, I think...
That was one... You keep going.
No, I just think that all of those are just extremely important as you continue to lead yourself to... become who you're trying to become, right?
Yeah. That was actually like the last lesson that my father told me before he died was that like you have to be aggressive in life and you have to go for what you want because no one's going to give it to you.
100%. And the faster you can realize that, and again, that like for me, it took just many years of losing it. Again, it wasn't a like specific event or day. Like this was years, decades of just, you know, neglect and abuse to like finally getting to the point where like, okay, I went through this treatment. Like, I'm not fucking coming back here. I don't want to fucking lose anymore. And
Yep.
so, whatever that may be for somebody in life, I pray that you get to that spot. Honestly, I think that like in life to have a great personal friend that's going through some shit right now. That like this particular event, I think that like humans to truly adapt and overcome and then continue to thrive is some major level of adversity, right? So the event with your dad, like that's extremely traumatic, but it's also one that typically forges people, right? For me, it was addiction. For you, it was that, like the fact of like, yeah, I need to be aggressive. No one's coming to save me, and then also the fact that like, you know, that particular individual could have given you years more of wisdom, that kind of stuff. So now you have to seek that out and find that, whether that's in mentors or content, things of that nature. But like, kudos to you because you've been intentional, right? You're at a young age, you're like on the way up in the ranks, and by the time your age, you'll be worth way more than whatever now. And so it just comes down to intention. Like, how bad do you want it? Like, and if you don't want it super bad right now, I totally fucking get it. But like, eventually, you're gonna have to decide and make a decision, right? And so, if I could suggest anything, it's sooner than fucking later because it definitely doesn't get any easier.
Yep.
The older you get, the more programmed you are, the harder it is to kind of rewrite the code. But it is possible. I'm sitting here and just amazed, grateful, thankful, like just so hard to like go back and reflect on where I was to where I'm at today to like what the fuck is about to happen is like the most amazing thing to think about. That like I am that motherfucker that created like this particular individual and will continue to create, right? Because I'm so committed and dedicated, and I want to help lead in a fashion to where others can see that and hopefully help and serve, you know, many other individuals that same or different things as well. So I think that's extremely important and like destined for my experience is to give back and serve in that way.
Yeah.
This current business is the vehicle and vessel that will open up the freedoms for me to allow to do that. But I'm definitely destined and called for some type of work in this adapting and overcoming wellness space, that kind of stuff. So love to see where that continues to grow and develop. But
Me too, bro. It's gonna be like everything.
100%. Yep.
Especially the way you're going right now. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep.
We're gonna be sitting next to each other and eating another steak, and it's still gonna.
Straight up.
Yeah.
I just take that fucking rear view and just throw it, and it just doesn't even matter. Just keep it fucking moving. Like, just get up and just.
There's only one way.
Yeah, it's just there's no sense dwelling, and I did it for years, so I totally know. So would love to. I'm sure to drop some info on how to find me.
Yeah, I will.
And yeah, it'd be cool to hear from some people. I've been through the fucking ringer, so if there's anything that people can reach out, you know, shed some light on, I'd love to do that. That's actually when I feel the highest sense of purpose. As business is great, money's great, but like the service for me, I'm in such a season of service that like, yeah,
That's
that's
the most fulfillment.
yeah, absolutely, 100%. And,
Yeah,
and like I
same
said, that will become much more as we grow and develop. That will definitely be a larger thing on the stack of what we offer. So
I actually deal with this too. Like I struggle with this. It's like I struggle with like feeling proud of myself. I've always had like the mindset of like I need more. Like my mind's always constantly racing. I'm sure there's people out here watching this that feel the same way. They've maybe built a business or they maybe, you know, started becoming the man they are, and they just like never really sit down and like be proud of themselves. I don't know if it's like because I've just like never really felt it. I feel like I don't deserve it, even though I don't like using that word, or like I'm not worthy, even though I know I am. Like, have you ever experienced that? If you have, like, how did you deal with it?
100%. So like I actually just recently celebrated 4 years clean and sober. And I was going to do nothing about it, right? But a person at one of the kava bars that we hang out with, who's a great friend of mine, and like respect him, and he's an attorney, and so I love conversations with him, just high level conversations, and kind of brought up with him, and I was like, yeah, you know, I'm going to celebrate 4 years, and he's like, oh, well, what are we going to do? And I was like, what do you mean, what are we going to do? And he's like, I have celebrated some of the dumbest shit. He's like, why would we not celebrate that, right? And so, like, I too think that, yeah, things like that. Because to me, especially when you are walking the path, right? You are doing the things, right? I'm doing the this, that. It is SO fucking P. Like, this is how I am. This is how I operate. So, like, what are we celebrating? Like, this is fucking today. It's just another Wednesday. Like, I'm going to get up. I'm going to grind. I'm going to do all the things. Like, there's no other things. But, like, when I do reflect back on the things that I used to celebrate, fucking God, the fact that it was Tuesday and I wanted to stay up till next Tuesday for no reason, that, yes, I think it's extremely important to take time and reflect and actually celebrate some of the wins, because that is what strengthens the internal dialogue of, like, I am proud. I am fucking worthy. I am disciplined. I am sacrifice. Like, all this stuff. If we don't take time to strengthen the internal and we think just about the external rewards, if you will, that's where the fleeting, all of the shit is right. Like I said in the beginning, if cars and stuff and money and shit, if that's what you want, then you're gonna get it. But then what, right? So this is why it's extremely important to develop yourself from the inside out, become that individual, so that when you have these moments, and we talked about it the other night at dinner, you're like, I just, you know, it's crazy. Like, I don't even feel like I worked at whatever, but it's the years of compounding work to get to the day where you're getting paid this amount of money, and you're like, fuck, I don't even know if I deserve that. But you didn't see the years before that. The years, that's the thing that people don't see, is the years of shit you didn't see. So celebrate the moments when you hit these little milestones and you're like, fuck, but I didn't really work that hard. Well, yeah, you had to set up systems and you had to make content. You had to do all the shit, like, for years, right? To get to today, to where, yeah, you hit some benchmark and you're like, I didn't really do a lot of work. But, like, dude, there's a funny thing about this universe. It will suck out anything that is undeserved, right? And it might not be fucking today or might not be tomorrow. But eventually, people that do particular types of investments, they do this, and you see these people, and you're like, oh, well, you know, they did this or that, and they made this on fucking crypto or whatever, and then all of a sudden, you see them a couple years later, and you're like, damn, you don't look anything like you used to, right? And so, like, I'm a huge proponent, and yes, there's tons of people that do shitty things and make, you know, most of the people that play at the top of the game, they say cheat and this and that, yeah, but I try not to fall into that noise, dude. Just get up and do whatever the fuck you can to advance yourself, and eventually the cards will go in your favor, right? And so definitely celebrate the things. I actually struggled with that forever, and it was amazing. We had a pretty good turnout, and it was just kind of cool to validating that, like, I don't require that, the external validation, but it's nice to see it, or, you know, to be around it, and then that goes to show of, like, the character of the individual that you've built, right? Like, literally, like, created. So yes, definitely suggest celebrating whatever that may be, and then also reflecting on the fact that, yes, maybe this particular month you didn't put in a lot of input, and then the output was high. That's fucking years or months or whatever prior. So, like, don't get it twisted. You didn't get just handed something, right? And then, so it's important to remember that.
Thanks, bro.
For sure.
That really helped a lot. I see that you're, like, really focused. Like, every single time we go for a walk or everything like that, you're so focused on just you. You're not paying attention to anything around you, any of the noise. You're just so focused. Like, how did you develop that?
It was given to me. It was a duty. It's a fucking obligation. Like, when you go through what you go through, and then you have been given this opportunity, like, dude, I am sprinting from the old life, like, fucking full speed ahead, like, you will not, like, I'm not going that way. My old homie, Tommy, or not his old homie, he's my homie, used to live with him when I was going through all this shit, and I always said to him, like, bro, I'm not fucking going that way. Like, where we were, like, I'm not fucking going that way, dude. And so that's literally how I live and operate now. It's like, I am not fucking going that way. Yeah. And I'm just so dialed on that. And you know, some people think that's, like, intense or militant, and it is what it is. But, like, to to get to where I'm going, the noise has no space for me, right? So easier said than done, but like when I got out of treatment, there was no TV. It was like literally like living in, and it's back to Tommy, living in this backyard, learning how to meditate, sitting in the fucking bushes. Like, I mean, I went that internal. Like, that's what it takes. It takes like literally turning the fucking world off, going dark, like to go from boy to man. I really think there's a season of like darkness, and there's no fucking way that you can just develop to where you need to become without like literally silencing the fucking noise and then going saying like how, like we talked about earlier, how am I going to be like these other people? What are they doing? How am I going to figure out? And I'm just silencing the noise and figuring it out and continuing to develop that daily. Yeah. Intention. Live with fucking intention.
Agreed. Because you're not going to go anywhere if you don't know where you're going.
Like, what's the point? You know, you're unconscious, right? So like, you know, and for a lot of people, maybe they haven't had some kind of awakening or something like that. So
it's like you're sailing in a boat. Like, no sailor is going to go out to sea and have no clue where he's going.
That's back to the strategy thing, right? Like, you just, if you don't have a strategy, like we're gonna just continuously deviate. So, which I did forever, right? And it's like very common. And then you're gonna go try a bunch of new things and shit. Like, just keep the main thing, dude. Just lock the fuck in and just lean into the fact that like it's gonna take years. It takes years to get to a point where
You
like
just gotta put in that work because most people won't put in that years.
yeah, they're looking for the fast thing, which is, you know, what fucking Amazon. You can order something and it's get to your no, fuck that, and get it in the same day. That's how bad, you know what I mean? So like the gratification is crazy. So I'm all for optimization and that kind of stuff, but for the aspects of like, again, back to what the universe just has a funny way of sucking out things that are undeserved. So like these get rich things and shit, whatever that may be, you know, things that make people deviate or this course or that course. Like, look, I love courses and those are amazing, but like what goes into that is years of discipline, sacrifice, commitment, all of the things. And so just lean into that. Like it's going to take that long, but like, it's the fucking ride, dude. It's the journey. People always talk about it. It's like the most amazing experience to get to a point where like, I got clean 4 years ago and had no fucking clue what was going on. And then we're sitting here today talking about my life experience, business owner, clean, out in the community, you know, doing all the things. Like, and I actually like fucking love it. Like, I get up and yeah, there's days that fucking suck or are much more challenging than others. But like, I love advancing, bro. That shit is addicting. Like, when you're getting up and you're just getting fucking better, oh my God, it's the most amazing part of life. Seriously.
It is. Like, yesterday I was boxing and, bro, I've never had a fucking more workout than that. Like, I literally got home after I got done boxing and took like a 3-4 hour nap.
Damn, body needed it.
Because like, yeah, my body was just so exhausted and I just felt so good because I felt like I really got at least 1% better that day.
Sounds like a couple percent, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's tough if you don't have the system or strategy that we're talking about, some kind of framework or something. It's hard to feel like you're advancing. Mm-hmm. What is it? You know, it's the system that's holding you accountable. What do you have?
Especially when you're not getting the output, like you're putting in a bunch of inputs, but you're not getting the output you want to see.
Well, that comes back to the internal audit, probably. I mean, we're deviating from something. So what is it? What adjustments can we make? Like, back to the removal. We probably need to get rid of some shit. There's something that's sucking up energy or time or intention, whatever that may be. And for some of you, it's probably fucking dating. You probably don't need to be, you know, like, focus on you. And then the rest will come magnetically to you, right? And I think that's extremely important, too. I think a lot of people get caught up in that shit. Not that it's bad, but I think you can easily deviate in times where you should be working, you know?
Agreed.
And that doesn't mean necessarily on your business or whatever. That means, like, on yourself, right? Like, do not overlook that. That is, like, the most admired skill out here is, like, just a disciplined, dangerous motherfucker, right? Like, that's what people were like, damn, it's just like, who is that, right?
Yeah, you can see it by, like, the way you walk.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about your aura.
Yeah.
Like, people just see it.
Yeah. It's like work, dude. It didn't just happen, you know, and it's constant. It's day in, day out. So, But it's fucking much better on this side. I'll say that. So.
It's good at the top. Well, thanks, bro, for coming on. I really do appreciate it. You just dropped an absolute bunch of wisdom that people are gonna figure out. If you guys want to, get in contact with him and follow him, which you should, I'll leave all this stuff in the links in the description. You have anything else to say?
No, 100% blessed, thankful, grateful to operate in alignment and meet you and be able to do this and kind of share some story and wisdom. Hit me up. Would love to hear from some of you guys and maybe help you along your journey. So looking forward to kind of growing and expanding together, and hopefully we got some more shit coming out.
Yeah, we definitely